right, I want to bring in Loyce, International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies Director for the Americans. She joins us live now from Panama City in Panama. Loyce, thank you so much for being with us. I really want people to understand the sort of tight window that rescue workers are in right now, because obviously there is that sort of critical 48 to 72-hour window. When rescuers, especially international rescue teams, arrive in Venezuela, just talk to us about what a typical day looks like for them. What are they prioritizing at this point in time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, first they want to get a lay of the land from the people who have been there. There are a lot of people who are offering hands to help out, but there are others who have been doing this from the first minutes, the first hours since these buildings crumbled. And we at the Red Cross have had these teams actually on the ground going to different provinces and parts of the city and greater Caracas area to understand, okay, this is where we saw 200 or more buildings collapse or otherwise show damage. And this is what we know were residential areas versus perhaps businesses. And so they can redirect or direct these teams to understand where they should go first and what they might find and who they might find, more importantly, when they get there.
For people who are experiencing so much fear right now because they haven't heard from their loved ones since Wednesday, they're calling their phones and they can't get access to them. You know, the fear is obviously that some of the loved ones may or may not be trapped underneath the rubble. You know, it's going to be very tempting for people to start digging through the rubble themselves, desperately trying to find their loved ones on their own. I mean, you're not even thinking, let me just wait for the rescue teams to do it. What are the risks with that?
Yeah, I'm really glad you're asking about this as well, because one of the things we're trying to provide in country is not just first aid, right? Not just search and rescue support, but we're trying to provide this information and education. It is very dangerous to enter these structures, even if they're still standing. They could still be precarious. Our national headquarters of the Venezuela Red Cross in Caracas is damaged, and we haven't been able to safely work in all parts of that building. And so we've had to keep our own workers safe. And if we're doing that, everyone else should be mindful of that as well. I know it's very tempting to not just try to find your people, but to recover belongings and prized possessions. And I know how critically important that is. I come from an earthquake-prone part of the world myself, and I get it. And we need people as safe as they can remain. We need to protect and save people's lives at this point. And our first priority is that, first and foremost. Help is on the way. People are coming to support these efforts, but ensuring that the experts are on the front lines, remain on the front lines, is critically important.
You know, what do you say to family members after that sort of critical 72-hour window has already elapsed? I mean, obviously, we always see miracles in these sorts of situations. I mean, I've been at CNN for over a decade. I've seen so many situations whereby you see an earthquake and then 4 or 5 days later, someone dramatically, by some miracle, gets pulled from the rubble. But after the 72-hour window has passed, I mean, I imagine that rescue crews are starting to have really difficult conversations with loved ones. I mean, that has got to be, for both people who are on the receiving end of those conversations, but people who are actually delivering the news, that has got to be so incredibly heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's very thoughtful of you, Zain. You know, there's rescue and then there's recovery, and that both are hard, but the latter, it's even hard to talk about. But we have to. So we address that in a couple of ways. Actually, to begin with, we're already implementing and delivering through Venezuela Red Cross psychosocial support, emotional support, mental health counseling, even in the wake of this, because it's just been stressful to be displaced and unhoused for 2 nights. There are many people who don't want to be in any type of structure, even if it's a safe temporary shelter, right? And so there's a lot that goes into addressing people's anxieties in this moment, particularly as time wears on and they don't know where their families or friends are. It's very hard, but it's very important to lead with that psychological first aid and ensure that people have that support if we do have to deliver bad news. That's also critical for workers themselves. This is not easy work. And if you know anyone who's worked in Haiti, in Turkey, in any part of the world where this has happened, you have to tend to the mental health and well-being of people on the front lines. And it's a reminder for anyone watching this who is a humanitarian worker to take care of yourself first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The last thing I'll mention is our Restoring Family Links initiative. So countries from Mexico down to Argentina have set up services for people to report missing loved ones, to try and work through Red Cross to identify or find those missing loved ones. And it's worked. It's worked in circumstances like in Jamaica in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. We do this all the time all over the world. So I want to encourage people to reach out to those Red Cross societies in those countries as well, to the degree that people in the diaspora really are facing that anxiety as well, being outside the country.
You brought up such a good point about people just not wanting to be in any building after war, because they didn't just experience one earthquake, they experienced like 2 earthquakes literally back to back, and then a lot of aftershocks. And so it just even sleeping at night in a building, something we take for granted all the time, must just be terrifying. And that's going to take a long time to get over. Loyce Pace from the IFRC Director for the Americas. Thank you so much, Loyce.